very, very warm welcome to you. My name is Anne-Marie and I'm going to be with you for the next hour, having a lovely, relaxing Pilates session. It's fantastic to be here again. Oh, it's strange times we live in, isn't it? Strange times, but let's enjoy this time that we do have together, this hour of peace and quiet. Hopefully a little bit of me time for you here, and maybe if you're there with the nearest and dearest, maybe a bit of a giggle as well. Okay. Usual stuff, safety first. Anything that I'm doing that makes you uncomfortable or sore or anything, don't do it. Don't do it. Just do things that make you feel great. I'm going to try and give you loads of options, so please be aware of those options and just work at your pace, work at your level, and enjoy the class. All the equipment we need is a mat. You may want to use a head block cushion. So it's just the usuals from me tonight. And otherwise, you might want to grab water as and when you need it. Take a break when you need to, all these good things. But let's just have a few seconds to relax, do some relaxing breathing as everyone sorts themselves out, gets everything ready. Okay, so starting kind of in a neutral position, I'll build you up to neutral properly in a minute, but let's just have some full wide breathing. So when you're ready, breathe in with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it there. 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4. We're just calming ourselves. 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, and again. In. Really feel the rib cage expanding. Holding that breath, being really nice and calm. And out. And hold just one more time with me. In. 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4, and hold. 2, 3, 4. Fantastic. I hope that's just brought you a little bit of calmness, a little bit of peace before we start our session. Let's get on with finding our neutral alignment. So feet directly under the pointy bit of the hips, and we'll just rock and roll forwards and backwards. My goodness, creaking already, that's a bad sign, isn't it? Let those toes really stretch out, the bones in the feet, just relaxing. If they've been clumped up in shoes today, maybe tight slippers, anything like that, they've just been held really around the feet. Now it's time to allow them to relax, to expand, to get some movement in there. Wonderful. We're just rocking forwards and back. It's a little bit of balance, isn't it, as well? You know I like a balance. All good. Fantastic. And coming to settle in the middle. And we're just going to roll out and in. So I'm just rolling onto the outside edge and the inside edge of my feet as well. And it helps me to find that neutral position when they come to settle, so the weight is really centred. If we let them settle there, just actually close your eyes and imagine you're trying to get that weight in between the inside and outside of the foot and the front of the back, so you've got that centralised, comfortable, neutral weight position. Your feet should be pointing forwards. Maybe if you find it easier to point them slightly out, that's fine. Whatever works for your legs and hips and all those bits and bobs that make it comfy. Moving up through the legs, knees nice and soft, don't need to be locked out. I'm coming up towards the pelvis and the hips, and when you're ready, just imagine that bowl of water inside the pelvis. We're going to rock that bowl forwards and backwards, forwards and backwards. Wonderful. Just getting that gradually, maybe increasing movement into the lower back. Again, it can hold tension there, you can hold stiffness. Maybe you don't get to move that lower part of the back as much as you might like, or as much as your body might like for that matter. So just rolling under and over, under and over. Fantastic. And gradually allowing that to get a little bit smaller and come to settle. So you have a small curve into the lower part of the back. Moving up, we're going to pull, imagine that pulling up through the spine. We're drawing it up at the top, drawing down at the bottom. So the spine is nice and long. The ribs are quite nicely relaxed over the hips. They're even, not particularly flared out. They're just tucked directly over the hips. Okay, coming into those shoulders, this bit's a good bit, isn't it? Bring the shoulders forwards, up, back, and ease them down the back. I feel that stretch across the front of the chest, drawing those shoulder blades down. The neck feels long, the spine feels long. We're standing nice and tall, chin pointing forwards, head directly on top. Just feeling that length along the neck, along the spine. Fantastic. And we are good. We started in a really good place. So let's go with our breathing. We've already had a little bit of breathing, but let's continue with our full and wide breathing. So as you breathe in, feel that rib cage expand out and relax down. And expand and relax. Wonderful. It's that full and wide breath. Those ribs acting like a pair of bellows, and it's just quite relaxing, isn't it? And giving yourself the time to really focus on that deep, wide breathing. For some of you, maybe you've had a lot of time on your own today, maybe it's been a bit quiet. This is your time just to relax, think about your body. For some of you, the chance of being on your own might be a fine thing. Maybe you've got kids running around the house, everything a little bit manic. Well, this is hopefully the time for you as well. Fantastic. We're going to think about that core contraction. So think about our core contraction in terms of the hips to belt. 10 notches on the belt. On the next full and wide breath in, breathe in. Tighten up. So it's that 10th notch on the belt. It's all drawing in together. You can feel the tightness under the fingertips and just tightness all the way around that hip area and release. Fantastic. Just relax through that breath. Next time, full and wide breath in, breathe into the 5th notch on the belt. So we've just got to tighten it, we can hold it, it's okay, it's comfy. Couldn't hold it for too long, but you know, we're managing to breathe through it, we can work through it and release. Okay, and the next full and wide breath in, breathe in. Just take it to the 3rd notch on the belt. So you've got that gentle tightening, that gentle drawing around the hips. And we're going to aim to be holding that position. So just remember your neutral, small arch in the lower back, knees nice and soft, long through the spine. We've just got that gentle tightening around the hips for now. It might help you as well to imagine that drawing up inside of the pelvic floor. Wonderful. Okay, let's get nice and warm. So from here we're going to work down from the top. So let's draw those shoulders around. We're going to do some shoulder circles so we can alternate sides. So it's almost like that backwards swimming that we've done before. So keeping fairly neutral otherwise in the body, and the arms are gently swinging around. And this time when the arm goes up, the arm up, turn the palm away, look to the side wall and sweep the arm down. Same on the other side. Arm up, turn the palm, look away and sweep down. We can make that move quite nice and continuous, so that we're looking away from the arm each time. Really feeling that movement around the shoulder. Maybe think if you can get it just a little bit further back. Maybe you've got a little bit more you can go on the mobility of the shoulder. That would be fantastic. Up and sweeping away and up and sweeping away. Ah, that's great, 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 great. Okay, relax, really sit there. And we're going to do that wiping the counter. Imagine our counter full of plates, crockery. We're just going to sweep it away. So really legs nice and wide, and it's a full rotation. So the hips get to swing round, the arms are swinging around, the spine has rotation in it. It's a nice big sweeping movement. I guess this is not a great one if you're in a tiny little space. Maybe you have to adapt a little bit this one. But sweeping away. Or maybe this is your end of day clear up in your kitchen, that's fine. Let's multitask. Wonderful. There we go, sweep it away. It'd be expensive, wouldn't it? Smashing all the crockery each time. Right, here we go, lovely. And coming back to the middle, we're going to have a nice little neck stretch now. So coming back to that neutral position, feet directly under the hips, standing in that neutral position. And I just want you to drop ear to shoulder. So drop it down, getting a nice stretch all the way down the side of the neck. And if you like to, the opposite hand can just reach down and away. Now you can choose if you want to also either gaze down towards the floor, feel how that stretch moves around the neck, or you may want to stay forwards and just use your fingertips just to ease the neck to the side. Again, if this is painful in any way, please don't, please don't. If it feels nice, it's a really nice stretch down the side, then go ahead. Okay, release that gently and bring that arm back in. We're going to go on the other side. So the head, ear to the shoulder. Just start small. We're building this up, building it up gradually. So ear to the shoulder, and then you can reach those fingertips down and away. And maybe tonight you just want to look down towards the floor. Or maybe you want to stay looking forwards, just use those fingertips to ease the head to the side. You might want to stay just in the original position. There's no need to go beyond what is comfortable. Release that here. And what we're going to do is actually reach the arm over. So taking the arm to the side, reach over. So we're going for a side bend where we're reaching over the top, alternating sides, taking that arm over. It's a smooth, controlled movement. The whole of the spine gets this lovely side flexion. So the shoulders, the back, and it kind of works down the back. So the shoulder goes over and gradually, again, like we like to do in Pilates, it's feeling the movement vertebrae by vertebrae, restacking those bones, shoulder, oh, easing over, fantastic. Oh, we don't do these very often, do we? Feels quite nice, so I like it. I'll have to do a bit more. Oh, lovely. And relax it there, relax it there, relax it there. Fantastic. We are going to do some squatting down, rolling back up to warm up our spine, warm up the hips, warm up the knees. I always like to show you from the side a squat. So squats, ideally you're pushing the hips back and down, knees not coming too far forward over the toes. So squat down, allow the chest to come over the legs, straighten through the legs and rolling up through the spine. And it's slow and it's gradual. There's no rush. Go your own speed. So just a nice squat down, rolling down. And then replacing that vertebrae, stacking them back up. Stack, stack, stack. Tick, tick, tick. And again, down. Doing well, we'll do a couple more. Allowing it to flex over. And especially since this is our first kind of flexion of the spine, just take it at your pace. If it feels comfier to just swan dive down and swan dive back up, maybe supporting the weight with the hands on the legs, you can do that as well. So if you squat down and that flexion doesn't feel so good, you can just use the arms to push back up. So you've always got options, always got options. Okay. And we'll hold that there, and we're just going to draw some circles on the floor. I'm going to encourage you to draw really, really big circles if you can. So it is a sneaky, cheeky balance in it, but not really, because you can take the foot along the floor, but just draw them really nice and big. So there's a little bit of strength going on as well then in this standing leg, because you're getting a little kind of single leg squat in here as well. We've already had a little bit of squatting. If it's all a bit much and you need to grab onto something and actually the squatting isn't working for you, you don't need to. But it's quite nice, it's a little bit of an add-on. A little bit of extra work. And squat it forwards, bring it round. Let's do the other side, So a little squat to reach it forwards and bring it round. So you're getting a little bit of work to this quad. And glute at the back. Kicking all sorts here. Oh dear. Just a couple more. Fantastic. And we're going to do a little bit of a quad quad stretch, but it's going to be a moving quad stretch. So you're starting just kicking the foot up towards the bottom. Okay. And just seeing from the side, we're just getting a little bit of nice movement into the knees. Again, a sneaky bit of balance, only a little bit. Only a little bit. We're not there yet, we're not far off though. Kicking up towards the bottom. And then we'll kind of bring the knee in front, so just warming up at the hip. A little bit of strength into these hip flexors. Hip flexors do work hard in Pilates, don't they? All those movements on our back where we're bringing our legs up works really hard into the core, but as well into these hip flexors. Okay. And we'll just finish pedaling through the feet. So keeping the toes kind of down, just working through the heels and pedaling through. And hopefully, feel a nice little bit warm, a little bit mobile, all good. As you know, it's the best bit of the workout coming out, it's the bounce, whoop whoop whoop. Okay, I don't know why I get so excited, but I do enjoy it. We're going to do some circles on the floor. Now it's optional, if you wish to and you've got kind of a reasonably firm block, maybe a proper yoga block, foam kind of thing, you can stand on it if you wish, you don't need to, but it's just a bit of fun. It can give you a little bit of less stability, which makes it a little bit trickier. But just make sure your foot's kind of properly on it. If you've got one of these quite small ones and your foot doesn't really fit, don't worry about it, do it on the floor. But what I'm going to start with is just doing foot in front and drawing little circles with the foot in front. So we're just holding this leg in front and doing lovely big ankle circles. So you're getting all that movement into the ankle. We don't often do quite as much work around this ankle joint. We do at the start, but not so much after the starting section. And then I thought we could add just a little bit of a brain teaser. As that toe is going round and the ankle is rotating, can we take the leg round as well? So it's like some crazy spirograph thing going on. So now your body is constantly reacting to this moving, rotating joint. If you are able to stand on something, it's a little bit easier to keep the foot off the floor. Purely optional, by the way. You could just stick with the foot rotations at the front. I just quite like these little brain teasers. Make you think about it. It could go in the opposite direction. So if we start with the ankle going in the opposite direction. So don't forget, and we can take the leg round in those circles, don't forget that standing leg is soft. And as always, I have this reflection myself, it's actually weird, but I can see quite how much I'm wobbling and correcting, constantly correcting. Maybe you want to try something different with your arms. Maybe take them wide, maybe take them high. Fantastic. Let's hold that here. Oh my goodness, can you feel your ankle? You feel your ankle in your calf? I can. Yeah, I'm going to flip my block over because I don't know to go back into my old footprint. It's a bit weird, isn't it? Let's get back on other side. Wonderful. Right, standing up nice and tall. Being as soft before we get going. Let's just start with the circles. Start just nice and easy. And if it's feeling good, you'd like to have a bit more of a play. Do the circles with the ankle while you're doing the circles with the hip. Oh, my brain's going to explode with this one. Here we go. Fantastic. And we can do one more round. Okay, when we get back to the beginning, go in the opposite direction. So maybe we start with that opposite direction rotation. And then we build in the movement around the hip. So that standing leg is soft. The leg, oh, I went a bit wonky then, I did a figure of eight, it's all going on. The moving leg is kind of doing this spirograph movement. Funny, I had a pencil on the end of my toes, I have a wonderful pattern by the end of this. My brain's going into overdrive. Fantastic, this is fun. Wow. All right, I think we'll call it a day. I've just fallen over. Wonderful. Oh, that standing leg. Fantastic work. Good. get rid of your block, you don't need that. Okay, working on our kind of moving quad stretch. I want you to do a static one. I want to really hold that position. First, because it's fantastic to get a nice stretch into the quads. We don't often do a really long stretch on the quads. Secondly, because I just like a balance, don't I really? So, standing up nice and tall, hold on to that shoelace area of the foot. So just to show you from the side, that shoelace area of the foot. When you've got that, just ease the knees together. Use the knees. Gently push the hips forwards. So if you're struggling to get onto that shoelace area, you can hold kind of onto the shin, onto the back of the trousers. If you can, just try and get that stretch into the quads. So for me, it helps to push the hips forwards, push both the knees down and together. Again, the standing leg is soft. And you want to try just sweeping the arm up and down. Now, I quite like this little add-on because the arm is quite a long lever. So you've got that constantly moving kind of mass on the side of your body, changing your centre of gravity. Again, it's that reaction of the ankle, reaction of the leg. Just to try and keep you upright, it's fantastic. Okay, how's that feeling? Are we good? Right, don't worry about the arm. If we come from here, just bring that knee up in front. We'll just have a little stretch in front. So I quite like to hold on to my shin here. Again, if that's a bit much, maybe holding on to the knee. If it's all a bit much on the balance, just take the toes down, that's fine. But if it's comfy, you can hang on to this shin, bring it in to a nice comfortable position. Shoulder blades still drawn down the back, standing up nice and tall. But getting a stretch here as well. Again, that standing leg's working so hard, so hard. Oh, let's release it there. Awesome. Ooh, get the blood flowing, get the blood flowing. Right, other side. Wonderful. Okay, so make sure you're in a really comfy position because we're here for a while. When you're ready, hold on to the shoelace area. Okay, get those knees together. Push hips forwards. So just in the first instance, just get comfortable. Just get comfortable in the position. If you do need to grab onto a wall or something, or you want to be near to a wall or a chair, or I don't know, a husband, a wife, whatever you can grab onto if you need to. Just get close enough that you can if you want to. And if you do fall out of it, don't panic. Don't panic, just have another crack. That's how we get better, right? Okay, so I'm going to have a go again with that, sweeping the arm up and down. This side might feel better, it might feel worse. The faster you move the arm, I'm not encouraging you to flap your arms like wings or anything, but the faster you move your arm, if you think about it, there's more change in the position, the speed of the centre of gravity movement. So there's even more for your body to contend with. So I'm keeping mine reasonably slow, but you could go a little bit faster if you feel comfortable to do so. Still thinking it is a quad stretch, so can you feel that stretch across the front of the leg? All the way down the thigh. Fantastic. Let's finish this one here. And then if you can, and you're still good and you're still going, try without letting the foot fall if you can, to bring that leg in front. Amazing. Awesome. Just holding this position is really actually quite calming, quite relaxing. Just staring at that stationary object, whatever it might be. Maybe it's something on the wall, a picture on the wall, or a door handle behind where your screen is. That'd be a strange place for a door handle, wouldn't it? Might be, you never know. You never know. And release and relax. Oh my goodness. Oh, I can really feel that. It's good, isn't it? It's good. Well done. Whoop, whoop, whoop. You did it, you did it. So we're going to move today to the back of our mats. Actually, I might face this way and go to the back of our mats. We're just going to do a little bit of rolling down, rolling up. Just make sure this spine is a fantastic place before we get going. So getting our neutral position, follow my breathing, making sure we've got our core contraction. We're just going to gradually build up our roll down, roll up. So when you're ready, just come quarter way, halfway, not too far. And and allowing those vertebrae to restack. You're just really controlling this move. So you're gradually working down and working up. Wonderful. And each time you're peeling that spine away, so peeling the vertebrae down, imagine like a wheel. It's building the forward motion down and coming all the way back up. Just remind me of those really old-fashioned knee sticks. I don't know if you remember them. But they used to be, I'm showing my age, aren't they? They used to be like a wheel with a stick on it, and you just walked around with this thing, and just imagine it was laying itself out and coming back. So building up the size of this movement, going down to maybe 3/4 now. Coming all the way down to the bottom, so peeling away, peeling away, peeling away. Core still working. And when you get to the bottom, just hang out there. Just allowing that stretch down the back of the legs. If you need to, you can kind of gently soften out the knees, allowing the upper body just to hang, just to relax, to lengthen down. Okay, and when you're ready, if you just bend at the knees, walk the hands forwards. We're going to come down onto all fours tonight. So coming down to all fours, I'll sort myself out. Right, coming to all fours. We're going to start in our all fours position tonight. So, just have a quick look down. The feet should be directly behind the knees directly onto the hips. So if you look down through your knees, you might just about see your big toes, probably not a lot else. Unless you've got very, very tiny legs, maybe you can, but I think for most of us, just toes are if you're lucky. Right, we are going to just make that pelvis really comfortable. So rolling under and over. Under and over. So arching and flexing that back. You've got that arching sensation. And bringing it all the way down. Getting really nice and comfy, but focusing on the lower part of the spine. So rather than when we're going to our planning cat and cow, and it's the whole of the spine, the upper part of the spine as well. Trying just to stay a little bit lower down into the spine on this one. And coming into a neutral position where you've got that small arch in the lower back and lengthening. Imagine that drawing up the top of the head, drawing down through the tailbone. Long, long, long spine. Let's get our shoulder blades in a great position. So hands directly under the shoulders. Have a quick check. They will be wider than your knees. That's fine. That's how they should be. So drawing those shoulder blades down the back by twisting. Imagining you're screwing your hands into the floor, little fingers are imagining you're screwing them out to the side, but we are actually maintaining that middle finger pointing forwards, hands nice and spread. Okay, should be in a nice long neutral position here. Let's go for a full and wide breathing. Let's just try it in this all fours position and relax any tension. Okay, from here. Breathe in, switch on the core, and as you breathe out, I just want you to extend one leg away and bring it back. Oh, my cushion was right there. Switch sides. Oh, there's the one. Extend, bring it back. Okay, and we're going to do opposite arm and leg going out. So if you're comfy there, just take them both out, still dragging them away, bringing them back, dragging them away. Bring them back. So what I want you to think about is keeping that shoulders and back in a neutral position. If this is feeling good and comfy, you can take the hands and the foot away from the mat and really extend up. But keeping that solid spine position, the core is really nicely controlled. You've still got that arch in the lower back. This is that one where when I get you in my class, I'll pop a little pad on your back and just say, just imagine this is a tray with, I don't know, what's your favourite, an afternoon tea, bottle of Prosecco, whatever you like, on your back, and you just don't want to spill any. So really focusing on I'm keeping that back solid, trying to minimise the twist. There's obviously a rotation that your body wants to perform here. You've got this kind of cross-body action. Temptation is, you kind of, do you see how the spine rotates there? Try and avoid it if you can. Just hold it steady, like a rock. So that if I looked at you from above and I could just see your spine, I wouldn't be able to tell which side it is that's working. Now if this is feeling good and lovely, and you'd like to, when you extend, you can go out diagonally, back in, bring it in. So this is an option. Breathe out, breathe in, out, and in. So it's kind of half speed now, the move. It's got that extra part to it. But again, I'm trying to avoid flexing the spine, rotating the spine, using my nice strong position, strong core, just to hold that position. Now don't be tempted. I just almost found myself then tensing up into the shoulders, bringing the shoulders up towards the neck, bring them back down. Draw those shoulder blades back down. Still screwing the hand that's on the floor in towards the mat. Wonderful. Let's just do a couple more. Extend, core still contracted, back is long, strong position. You're working into the glutes with that leg. You're working into the shoulder. There's a lot going on. Okay, last one. Last one. Bring it in. Okay. Pop back into child's pose for me. So take those heels back. I'm going to take my glasses off. So they'll just fall off otherwise. Right. Let that forehead come down towards the mat if that's comfy. If you prefer to, you can have your hands underneath your forehead. The aim of this one is to get the bottom towards the heels, okay? So rather than worrying too much about getting the head down, push down at the other end. Try and get the hips down and back. So you get that lovely release of the lower back. Now you've got some options with your arms if you'd like to. You can really stretch in front. Imagine your almost hands are drawing into the carpet and you're pulling your shoulders back towards your body. You get a beautiful stretch down the sides of your back. Lovely if you want to do that. You can do it also tensing up those hands so the wrists are gently moved away from the mat. Again, drawing those shoulders back, trying to drag the carpet towards you. Or if that's all a bit much on your shoulders and actually you just want to let them flop out, you might want to have your hands by your feet. Just let them flop down towards the mat. Really chilled, super chilled. And again, if it's more comfy for you, obviously if you want to have your hands underneath your forehead, that just feels better, that's absolutely fine. But nice relax here. Bringing it back, coming back to all fours. I'm going to sneak in a cheeky calf stretch actually, so back to all fours. I'll move myself forward just to make sure there's space, I'm sure there is. Right, I've got this long spine. What I'm going to do is take one leg back, so like we did for the last exercise, drop those toes down and push the heel over the back of the toes. And you should hopefully feel a really nice stretch down the calf. So I'm easing my body weight towards my feet, so gently pushing the hips back, still keeping the shoulder blades drawn down, still screwing those hands towards the floor, but pushing the heel past the toes, get that nice stretch into the calf. Fantastic. They get really tight, especially you can find you get very tight calves sometimes with cycling, depending on how you cycle. You can also get it if you wear a lot of heels quite regularly, or if you have quite tight calves, you tend to walk on your toes. That can also give you very tight calves. It's just nice sometimes to stretch them out. If we release that there, switch sides. So take the other leg back, plant those toes, and then just ease the heel backwards over the toes. A really nice stretch out. Again, we've got a long spine, so you can almost, I appreciate I've got my knee down, but if you imagine the position of the back, it's kind of like when we're doing a plank or a leg pull prone when we're on our front. It's that long position, so the spine is lovely and long, from the top of the head down to the heel. Nice, and coming back to all fours again, we're going to do a little bit of thread the needle, so we get a little bit of rotation to the back, bit of a stretch, bit of mobility. So from the position here, we've got that neutral position, breathe in, switch on the core, and as you breathe out, take one arm, thread it under, thread it through, and if you want, you can just hold that position there, or you can continue with the movement, bringing the arm all the way back. My recommendation as you go is to kind of watch the moving hand if you can, because that will naturally take your shoulders gently with you, open out through the shoulders, open out through the chest. So I'm going to suggest we do 3 on one side, bring it back to neutral, regain the position, and then switch sides. Now we will do a few of these, so if you did want to hold it at either end of the move, or hold it one then the other, by all means do. There's enough time to have a play here. We're getting this beautiful rotation. So on the way down, the shoulder comes down towards the mat. You kind of get the side of the head or the cheek onto the floor. And then we'll switch sides. So you can just hold that side position, feel that stretch into the shoulder, and bring it back up, rotating through the spine, getting a nice stretch around and through the chest. Feels so good. Really nice. So what are the points to watch here? I'd encourage you to rotate around a long spine. So rather than allowing yourself to collapse, kind of as you go down, collapsing into it, try and keep the spine long. So pushing kind of the hips away from the head, keeping it a long position. And as you come up, just see if you can extend that shoulder blade back and behind you. Really sweeping the arm through. Can you reach just a smidge further in both directions? Will that get you just to unlock ever so slightly, a little bit more of your mobility? Fantastic. One more, we can do it. Lovely, and relax it there. So from here, we're actually going to come down onto our fronts, onto our tummies. So again, I'll keep my glasses off, otherwise they'll just fall off. Coming down onto your tummies, however is comfy for you. We're going to do some swan dive. So with swan dive, if you're planning to use the upper back and do the extension through the upper part of the body, if you can get your hands into kind of a capital E shape, the spine's nice and long. Our neutral position here, if you just tuck that pelvis underneath, if that's comfy to do so. If you want to put a little cushion underneath your hips, pelvis, if that feels more comfy, by all means do that if that helps. Okay, but otherwise, if you're on your mat and that's all good, just tuck the hips under. Getting that full of my breathing. It's tricky when lying on the front, isn't it? But try your best. Full of my breathing. Switch on the core. And then we're just going to lift the forehead and the shoulders. Use that upper back, bringing it back down. So at the moment, my toes are together, heels are flopped out to the side. And I'm slowly but surely using my upper back to draw, make my spine long, kind of get the chest a little bit proud, a little bit up. This is feeling good. When you get to that top of that move and you're still feeling good, back's worked, just press into the forearms gently. Get a little bit more in your range of motion there. And if that feels okay and you like to, after you've pressed in the forearms, press into the hands, you get a little bit more. So this will depend how your back feels in that hyperextension. This won't be for everybody, but it can feel quite nice. And it's also a good thing to have a nice strong upper back. Help you to prevent, that kind of dowager's hump where you get really bent over at the top of your body. It can help if you can strengthen that upper back. Get that nice long spine. So avoid it, it's called a kyphotic spine. Let's get nice and strong and avoid that urge to be hunched over. Okay, and if this is all feeling good and actually you'd like to bring in the lower body, next time your forehead comes down, squeeze into the glutes, lengthen through the legs, and they'll gently ease off the floor. So it's a bit like a rocking horse. Upper body goes up and down, and lower body up and down. And it's a smooth, continuous movement. Just really gradual movement. And if either end of the move doesn't feel great, well, if both ends of the move don't feel great, then do something different completely, perhaps pop into child's pose. But if you would prefer to do one part of the move but not the other, you prefer either the upper body or the lower body, by all means just repeat what you're doing. You don't need to do the whole move. Okay. And we'll rest it there, relax it there. Wonderful. We're going to roll over onto our sides. So we're going to roll over and do some side kicks. Now this is optional. If you want to have a head pad under your head, by all means do so. If you're comfy resting kind of onto your arm or your shoulder, then that's all good. So that's what I'm going to do today. We are having a long body position, so the hips are stacked, knees are stacked, ankles are stacked. You may just have the hand in front for balance, but try and draw those shoulder blades down, try and keep the spine on, and ease that top hip away. So you've just got that little gap under your waist, where I've just got a straw where I can pop it under your waist, and it wouldn't get squashed throughout the move. When you're ready, full and wide breathing. Breathe in, switch on the core. As you breathe out, I just want you to lift that top leg. Just take it up, forwards, and back, and down. So up, forwards, back, and down. What am I thinking about here? Keep pushing that top hip away. Keep that gap underneath the waist. Now you might want to have this hand on front to keep your balance. Another way, an alternative way to keep your balance, if you would rather have your hand away from the floor, you could bend that bottom leg gently. That gives you a slightly larger base to be moving from. If you want to really challenge your balance, you can have your arm along your leg. I'm trying to make this smooth. Make the movement come kind of from the hips rather than rolling, rocking and rolling forwards and back. It's quite hard, isn't it? If you really want to try the balance, take that arm up. The further forwards and back your leg moves, the more work, again, you have to put in with that balance. It's the same idea that we had with that quad stretch at the beginning. Oh, sweeping with the arms as well. It's trying to hold that strong position. Fantastic. Lovely. Just one more. I'm really feeling this. Outer part of the thigh. Working hard, trying to keep those hips stacked, still got that gap underneath the waist. And release, relax. Fantastic. Do a little bit of arm opening. I will grab my head pad for this one. So I'll just whip and grab that. A little bit of arm opening for you. Do like an arm opening, don't we? Lying on your side, let's have that falling off a chair position. So knees in front of the hips, ankles, knees and hips all stacked. Okay, push that top hip away, small gap under the waist. Just allow the arms to come in front of the body. The spine is nice and long. When you're ready, breathe in, switch on the core. As you breathe out, float that top arm over. My goodness, I did that without breathing, it felt like. It's my time to breathe. So breathe out. I quite like to breathe out as we come up. Breathe in on the way down the other side. Out to come up. And in to come down. If you want to hold it open, by all means do so. Try and keep that top hip eased away. Try and keep the shoulder blades drawn down at the back. Just really feeling smooth, controlled. How far can you get that shoulder blade down at the back of this move? Oh, lovely. Bringing it back. We'll just do one more here. And bring it back. Relax. We're going to come over onto our backs. Okay, I'll get rid of my hand there. I don't think that should get in the way. There we go, lovely. Okay, we're rolling over onto our backs. Let's get that neutral position on our backs. So start with the feet together, heels out, toes out, heels, knees and hips. The bottom of the pelvis all aligned, so sit bones, knees and feet. All along those strong tracks. Okay, knees pointing up towards the ceiling, feet flat on the floor. When you're ready, we're just going to rock through the pelvis. Oh, I do like doing this. Lovely bit of pelvic tilts. Almost like a little massage on your lower back, isn't it? Wonderful. And gradually reducing the size of that move until you've got that neutral curve onto the lower part of the spine. Okay. Arms relax down, shoulders relax down, chest nice and open, hands probably pointing up towards the ceiling, maybe in towards the legs. The spine is long. If you need to have a block or a cushion or anything behind your head, please do so if that feels comfier for you. So we're just going to spend a bit of time on our back here. When you're ready, breathe in, switch on the core, and as you breathe out, I just want you to bring one knee up and down. So this is your level 1 for this move. This is the first version I'm going to give you. The move that we're working towards is with an extended leg. So if this is all feeling good, breathe out to lift, in to lower. And if it's all feeling good, just want you to just extend that leg. So it's out to lift, in to lower. And I'm going to leave it up to you how high it goes. So maybe it's going up towards the ceiling, maybe it's kind of going in line with your leg, and maybe actually it's just a bit much having it that extended, which is why I wanted to start you this bent leg situation. If it's still feeling good and you're happy with this movement now, so we're doing a straight leg today. If you'd like to, just try and release the tension in the leg that's down so that you're almost drawing it off the floor. I'm going to feel this one quickly, but it's a nice big lever. Doing the movement here. So out to lift, in to lower. This is still feeling comfy. You're thinking, go on, I'm going to go for it tonight. Let's do it. Let's do it. Make sure you're maintaining that gap under the back. So if this is collapsing every time, you want to take it down a level. So just make sure you're in the right position before you consider going any harder. But if we're feeling good, instead of just almost lifting this leg, let's start with it up. I'm taking it up and down. And again, it's up to you how high the moving leg goes. And if this is still feeling good, you're doing well by the way, if this is still feeling good, and you'd like to, you can mirror it with the opposite arm. If it's long, bring it in. Long, keep that core contracted, keep that spine nice and long, neutral curve under the lower part of the back. Just do 3, 2, remember I talked about hip flexors, here we go, and 1. Okay, extend, let the leg down, release, relax. Oh, that was a good one. Let's have a little bit of a release there. We'll start bringing one leg in towards the body. We've got another side of those, my goodness. It's all good. And take the other leg up. Now it has dawned on me why I often I'm late to this class. You have to note, but at the moment my clock's on the wall and I don't have my glasses on. It could be any time. Who knows? We'll be fine. It'd be great. Maybe if I pop them back on, there is a better chance we won't be late. Wow. There we go. Oh, there. It's all become clear. Wonderful. Right, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so getting that neutral position again, really focus on that neutral, because that is quite an intense move, isn't it? That long leg, it is quite intense. So we want to make sure that we get that great relaxed neutral start. So in that neutral position, breathe in, switch on the core. As you breathe out, we're just going to start with the leg floating up, floating down. Up and down. So you're breathing out to left, breathe in to come down, out to left, and to come down. If this was feeling good, remember our next step was to extend, so we've got that straight leg now moving. Trying to keep the hips level as well, so try not to be rocking and rolling all over the place if we can. It's up to you how high it's going. I think mine kind of just round about in line with maybe just past the leg that's still down, something like that. That's because that's kind of where it's comfortable for me. It's where the hamstring's still feeling pretty good. It's where the strength is working very hard. So the hip flexor is working hard. If you wish to, you can bring this leg, imagine taking off the floor. So you've got that paper thin little gap almost underneath. And it will be kicking in and the core will be working. Still focus on that gap under the lower back. Wonderful. And if you're still good, you want to take it up, let's take this leg that's down, let's take it up. This is hard work. Still keeping that gap controlled, keeping the neck nice and long, shoulder blades down, keeping the shoulders away from the neck, don't draw that tension. Just relax. All the parts that aren't working should be relaxed. The feet are relaxed, calves are relaxed. And if you'd like to, we can bring in that opposite arm. So we're going in and away. If you need to take a break at any time, take a break. Take it down. Maybe do 1 or 2 at a harder level. Maybe then take a rest and relax. 3, 2, and 1. Ooh. Bring it down, bring it down, bring it down, bring it down. Wonderful. Let's have a relax there. Oh yes. Bring the leg in towards your body. They are hard, aren't they? They were good. We like those. And switch sides. Put that knee up. And the leg extends away, just relaxing there. And we're just going to have an extra little release here with some windscreen wipers. So bring the legs up. Maybe take them a little bit wider than the hips, maybe towards the edge of the mat, maybe just outside the edge of the mat. It's nice if you've got the space to have the arms wide, you can cactus arm. It doesn't really matter if you don't have the space to pop onto your hips, wherever suits. But just allowing the legs to flop side to side. I'm not going to do too many of these, but it's just that extra little release, because that was so intense on the hip flexor, that big, long lever. Relax it there. You don't have to swizz around. You need to do those side-lying moves on the other side. I'll swizz around for you here. So bring the head to the other end. Oh, actually, I started without those, didn't I? So I did that single leg, the kicks up and forwards and back. So starting with that nice long extension. Easing that top hip away, getting a nice controlled, relaxed position down the body. When you're ready, breathe in, switch on the core. As you breathe out, lift. We'll go forwards and back. Oh, I'm wobbling, right. I'm going to put my hand down to control my balance. What an excellent idea. feel free to do so if you wish to. And then when I think I've got my balance, I may try without the hand. But maybe I'm discovering this is a wobbly side for me, my goodness. Let's try it, let's do it. So again, you've got that options with the balance. You can have this hand in front. You can, if you prefer, bend that bottom leg. And then maybe that would allow you to take the hand away. But if you really want to try and work on your balance, control that balance, try it with the arm up if you can. Frankly, it's not the end of the world if you roll over, is it? Let's be honest. Okay. And if you like, you can try that arm up. And I'm trying to control the length of my spine, but there's not too much swinging. And it's a smooth move. The further that leg moves forwards and backwards, the more work you have to do. So breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, out, in, out, and in. Fantastic work. A wobble. One more. One more. And relax. We're just going to finish up with those arm openings. If you want to, and you've got them, you've got your head cushion, head pad, you can rest onto your arm if it's still comfy for you to do so. It's not the end of the world. If that's your option, that's all good. But let's get that side lying position, knees in front of hips, ankles, knees, hips stacked, shoulder blades drawn down the back, arms in front. Nice relaxed position, and when you're ready, breathe in, switch on the core as you breathe out. Float the arm up and take it over. And gradually bringing it back, and as always, if you want to hold it open, hang it open, that's all good. You've got time to have a nice little stretch here. Mixture today, haven't we? We've had some quite challenging balances where we've had big long levers moving as we've been balancing. Had some nice twisting moves. I've fed the needle, got a lovely arm opening. That's got to be one of my favourite moves. I absolutely love it. We've had a nice sort of twisting and some good stretches into the legs actually today, because we started with a lovely long quad stretch. We've sneaked in a calf stretch. So we've had some slightly different leg stretches than we might normally have today. Obviously that straight leg extension was very intense in the hip flexors. The side kick was particularly tricky on that side balance today. And then we've had some nice work kind of facing down today with the swimmers, working into the glutes, working into the shoulders. And swan dive work into the upper back, so some great back work actually today. So lots of things going on. As always, I'm more than happy if there's anything you'd like me to put in, add in, take away. Drop me a little message, drop a little comment on the bottom of the workout. I'm always happy to hear it, always happy to have a bit of feedback. Okay, last one, guys. Last one. Oh, and bring it back. We're just going to stretch. Let's have a lovely big stretch here. So if you want to roll over onto your back, so I'm going to get rid of my cushion behind my head. Just do a little hamstring stretch here. If you do have your anything like a yoga strap or a dressing gown belt, anything like that, by all means, if you want to use it to help with this stretch, you can do. You don't need it. I'm not going to use one tonight. So just thinking about drawing the leg up towards the ceiling, let the other leg extend away. The reason we're letting it extend away is to keep those hips pinned into the floor. Okay, the temptation is when you bring the leg up, you try and reach as hard as you can, and actually the hips come way off the floor, and you lose some of the stretch into the hamstrings because it's going through the hips. So by taking that leg away, you're kind of stopping yourself cheating really. That's the best way of thinking of it, I think. It's a nice long stretch. So depending on how flexible you are, you might be holding around the back of the thigh, might be able to get towards the calf, might be getting your foot towards your head, that'd be good. I don't think I'll ever get there. It's okay. Okay, release that down. Other leg up. Same thing other side. I do like a good hamstring stretch. Really feeling the stretch down the back of the leg. And release that down. You can hang on to this leg actually. We're going to come to a sitting, so if you want to use that leg just to help you get up to a sitting position, that's a good, nice way to do it. So we're going to have a chest stretch, so just bringing the legs in front, if you want them in front like this, crossed, whatever suits. Just having them nice and comfy, but easing the chest up towards the ceiling, the shoulder blades squeezed together at the back. Opening out through the front of the chest. And looking up, you've just got a really nice sensation of stretch all the way across the front of the part of the body. Really nice. And release that. We're going to come over onto all fours. Just do a couple of rounds of cat and cow. We haven't really sneaked any in tonight, have we? So just have a sneaky couple of rounds of cat and cow. Just really make sure that back feels fantastic before we leave. Okay, and from here, tuck the toes, push the hips back. And we're going to stretch out through the legs first, rolling up through the spine. Coming into a nice neutral standing position. Have a couple of big breaths. It was fantastic to share another hour with you. I do hope you enjoyed it. I do hope it made you feel absolutely fantastic. That's what we're always hoping for. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts, feedback, any of that, if you want to like, you want to share, all of those things would be much appreciated. And I do hope that you have an awesome week and that I see you next week. So that's goodbye from me. Okay, bye bye.